Hey, good morning to those of you out there on the West Coast. Good afternoon to those of you here on the East Coast with me. It's a nice enough day out there, so I'm excited for today's training. Let me go ahead and turn some of this caption stuff off as I get rocking and rolling. As we go along, make sure you're putting in your company name, your core competency, and I'll actually talk about that more in a minute. But let other people know who you are, because this isn't just about training with Neil, right? It's about networking and engaging with other people. I don't know how many people will show up live. We're on 3 different channels, so sometimes people are spread across channels like YouTube. I'm on a couple of LinkedIn channels, but the idea, so we have over 150 people registered for today's training. That's your network. I want you to be able to connect with those people, and to as we go through government contracting, et cetera, we want to make sure that there's others around us who are striving for similar goals. Hey, before we get started, I just want to say thank you to those showing up early and on time with a tip for success. Who Moved My Cheese is one of my favorite books out there. Who Moved My Cheese? And the whole concept behind the book is that cheese used to come down, right? Contracts used to come down. They were pretty dependable. They were there, and now they're not there. What do? Do you sit there at the bottom of the cheese station that's empty and complain and bemoan your situation, or do you put your tennis shoes on and run out into the maze and look for more cheese, fresh cheese? And right now there's a threat of the government shutting down. It's actually Tuesday, so I don't know if they've settled it or not yet, but we've got a few more hours. That's happening. The Trump administration is doing things differently than things have been done in the past. That's just our cheese station changing. And it's really important for us not to let whatever anybody else is doing control us, right? It can impact us for sure, but we decide what our reaction is going to be. And Who Moved My Cheese basically is saying your reaction can be one of 2 things. You can sit there and wait for life to get better, or you can go make life better. So that's my tip for success for those of you showing up early and on time. I really appreciate when you do that. Let's go ahead and get started into today's training. Today's training is around how to land $100,000 as a subcontractor. And I'll dive more into the whole idea of subcontracting. But one thing to keep in mind, this training, I'm designing it specifically at $100,000 as a way to touch on people who maybe aren't getting any federal revenue yet, and you're moving forward. But literally, you could change that to $1 million or $10 million, and it'd be the same process. I teach the same process. It doesn't matter whether you're going after $100,000 or $10 million in subcontracting. The process I'm going to talk about is the same thing. So you figure out what's good for your company. I had a customer last year win a $65-70 million contract, subcontract, right? So when I talk about there's room for people to grow your businesses through subcontracting, it's not just for brand new people. Today's training, I'm thinking about those brand new people, and that might be you, but the process is available for all of us to be able to use. And we just got to wrap it around where our company is at. So if you're not familiar, there's 3 ways that you can make money in the federal market that I teach, right? You can subcontract under a small business, you can prime contract with the federal agencies themselves, or you can subcontract under a large business. And really quickly, just get us all level set. If I have a contract with the federal government, I have a prime contract. That's a prime contract. If company ABC has it, they're the prime contractor. And if I come in and take a piece of the work, say there's 10 task areas, and my old company was Microsoft SharePoint related, so I take a task area that's SharePoint. Well, I'm subcontracting under them. It's actually commercial business that I'm doing in the federal market, right? They've got the federal customer. I've got the commercial customer, which is this prime contractor. Now, the difference between small and large is just the size of the company. Generally, when I say large, I mean billion-dollar-plus firms. But technically, a large company in the government space could be like 50 million and up. And when I say small, I'm really talking about the rest of us below 50 million. All right, so there's those 3 ways. And today I'm going to be talking mostly as it relates to small business subcontracting. If you're more mature organization with more past performance, then you absolutely can sub under largest and take the process I'll talk about today in there. All right, so I put here that subcontracting is the easiest way to make revenue and make money in the federal market. That's why I'm doing the training today. It is absolutely the easiest, right? If I prime contract, I have to sit there and pursue an opportunity. I have to do all this stuff with the government. I have to wait a long time to see what's going to happen. Compared to if I subcontract, the prime contractor's got the big lift, and I'm coming in and just doing a portion of that work. So there's a lot that's reduced in there. That's my favorite part about it. The other thing is when you build a relationship and it's subcontracting based. Remember, I talked about my customer who landed a $70 million subcontract. Well, they did that after doing like 10 million with the same customer. It was Booz Allen. So they were doing $10 million a year. And then Booz Allen said, well, hey, we got this $1 billion contract. We'll subcontract 70 million to you. And so they were able to kind of build it up. That's pretty easy. They were brought onto another team. So put subcontracting rocks into the chat if you understand the value of teaming with other companies and you want to learn the process. That's why you're here for today's training, is that you want to sit there and figure out how do you tap into federal market revenue through the subcontracting path. So put subcontracting rocks in the chat. I'm excited to see you guys engaging on chat. Keep doing that. I appreciate it. As I dive into the key steps to landing $100,000 or depending on the size of your company, $1 million or $10 million in subcontracting, I'm going to break the training into 4 sections. The first thing I want to do is just talk about the importance of a clear, focused offer to your success as a subcontractor. The second thing is I'm going to talk about the steps to find top agencies that buy what you sell. Even though you're going to subcontract under another company, you need to find out where are those companies and they are at those top agencies that are buying what you sell. The third thing I'll talk about is why you should start with small business subcontracting compared to with a large prime, like a $1 billion firm. And then I'm going to wrap it all up with some steps on how to pursue a subcontract. Step by step, what do you do? So we only got 30 minutes. I'm going to be running through this pretty fast, but stay along and put subcontracting rocks in the chat if you're excited about that for your 2026 success. If you don't know who I am, my name is Neil McDonald. I'm the president of the GovCon Chamber of Commerce. I am founder of Call Plan AI, which I'm really excited about. And I want to welcome you to my federal sales training where I provide tips for success in the federal market. I spent 20 years in the federal market as a small business owner after I got out of the Army. And since 2018, I've been teaching people like you that government contracting is not a secret. It's just a process. When we follow a process A to Z, we have repeatable, predictable results. This is what I want for you. This is why I do this training over and over again, is to get you repeatable, predictable results for your company. If you haven't done so already, make sure you connect with me on LinkedIn. Just feel free to shoot me a connection request with a note. Otherwise, just follow me and you'll get access to the content that I put out there. Also, subscribe to my newsletter, the Government Contracting Success Newsletter. It is the largest GovCon newsletter on LinkedIn, passing even DoD, for example, and I grow faster than DoD or the SBA themselves. There's a lot of people out there who are paired on other channels that I'm on right now. And what I mean by that is like I'm here on my LinkedIn profile going live, and I'm also on my YouTube channel, and I'm pushing it out to the GovCon Chambers company page. So if you're out there, make sure you connect with other people and let them know who you are. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Tomorrow's training is so it's going to actually expand on what I'm going to touch on today, but it's going to expand on how do you find people who buy what you sell. So if you haven't registered for tomorrow's training, go ahead and do that here on LinkedIn. But I want to show you, so that'll be a show and tell or a demo of how do you go into the tools to find out who's buying what you sell. This helps you determine your path into the 2026. All right, so let's get rocking and rolling with the importance of a clear, focused offer. I got a call to action here. Don't do it yet. For those of you who've come to my training before, hold on one second. And then I'm actually going to share the chats onto my screen because I want to test something. But first, let's just talk about what is a clear, focused offer. Fundamentally, a clear, focused offer is what you sell, right? It's what you sell, niched down. That's the most important thing. It's easy for people to understand. So I said my last company, we did Microsoft SharePoint services. That's a clear, focused offer to anybody who I was knocking on the door and selling to. If I knocked on somebody's door and I was trying to get in to have a meeting with teammates or federal buyers, et cetera, and I said, we do Microsoft SharePoint services, they knew exactly what I'm talking about. We don't want to talk to you. We do want to talk to you. Come on in. Like whatever it was, they could instantly decide whether they wanted to talk. And so the first thing is make sure you understand a clear, focused offer. And I'm going to try to break that down a little bit in a second. There's this great line out there in sales that says people buy from those they know, like, and trust. People buy from those they know, like, and trust. And so this is really important. If I don't know you, I can't buy from you. If I don't like you, I'm sure not going to buy from you, right? And if I don't trust you, I'm not going to buy from you. But if I do know you, then the chances of me buying from you just massively went up. And if you get me to trust you and like you, then the chances of you being able to influence my decisions on what I'm buying, or the federal buyer or your teammates are going to knock on their doors for, the chances of your success go up significantly. And so part of that process of getting known, liked, and trust is that clear focus offer, right? It's niching down. In this slide, I'm trying to talk about the importance of why you want to niche down or have that clear focused offer. When you do, you get known, right? You get known for the one thing. This is really important, right? I said I did Microsoft SharePoint services. We were very well known for that in the government when I had my last company. There's people in my training like Chris Moffat does all things training. Rafa, her company does elevator services, right? And she could expand that maybe to elevator services, including installation, maintenance, and repair, as an example. Getting known for one thing is a really good thing. It's kind of like an actor being typecast, like Matthew McConaughey being typecast for rom-coms, and they just keep coming back to them. Like, you're really good. You make us money in their movies because you do that. I know where you fit, Matthew. Well, it's the same thing for your company. I need to know where you fit. Large primes used to talk about this all the time. If you come over and knock on the door, well, we pretty much do everything. So tell me where you fit. And the more clear you are about what you sell, the less you have to even identify where you fit, because the other people will understand what you do and go, oh, you could fit right here in this weakness that we have, or this area we could use some extra skill set on. So the importance of a clear focused offer is helping you get known for that one thing. People start sharing your company's information or your name with other people. Oh, you got to check out Neil. They do SharePoint services, et cetera. All right, the next thing is you start having, and the next reason for the importance of having a clear focus offer is you start having consistency across your marketing assets. There's 6 marketing assets that are out there. Your small business profile, which is SAM and DSBS and that other kind of stuff. There is your capability statement. There's LinkedIn, your personal profile and your company page. There is your capability briefing deck, and there's your website. Those 6 marketing assets, when you have a clear focused offer, there starts to be a consistency of messaging across those. Whatever people see, you're reinforcing that clear focused offer, which then helps with you getting known, liked, and trusted, right? And the big thing about being trusted is it starts with really getting known. If I see you as this focused offer, then I'm going to go in there. And the last reason it's important to have a clear focused offer that I put here is it helps you. If marketing assets are passive, right? They just sit there and they work for you. The proactive side of your marketing activity is your hook, your pitch, and your brief. And what I mean by that is think about, we hear about an elevator pitch sometimes. And what I like to say is, well, you're at the elevator, you're assuming you were able to get on the elevator. And so I say your hook is what gets you on the elevator. We do Microsoft SharePoint services. All right, come on the elevator, let's talk. Right? And we get on the elevator, and now I've got my elevator pitch. It's a 15 to 30 second pitch as we're riding up the elevator. If they like that, then what? Right? People talk about your elevator pitch and then they don't talk next. Well, at the top of the elevator ride, my goal is that I'm invited off the elevator into their office to come in and give a briefing, a capability briefing, to talk about some of their challenges, right? And so when I have a clear focused offer, I'm able to master the language, the delivery around my hook, my pitch, and my brief. And so this is why it's really important that you have that. So thinking about this, remember I said Rafa has elevator services and I had Microsoft SharePoint services. What is yours? Go ahead and in the chat, do me a favor, in the chat, show me, and I want to see if this works for me. Show me what your clear focused offer is in there and just start throwing it in. I got to see if this works. 2 to 4 words at most, right? This is just your hook to get on the elevator. Hey, mind if I ride up as we go forward, right? Somebody was asking, by the way, what are the 6 assets I just said? So again, your small business profile is SAM, your capability statement, your LinkedIn personal profile, company page, your website, and your capability briefing deck. You can come back and find that. I got a ton of training. So this thing doesn't move fast enough for me. I'm going to get rid of it. But let me watch the chat because I'm tend to be about a minute or two behind you. But put your 2 to 4 offer in. This helps me see it, but also it helps other people see it. Okay, so that's the importance of the clear focused offer. Let's talk about the steps to find the top agency that buys what you sell, or the top couple of agencies. The first thing is, why is it important to know the top agencies? I'm saying in today's training that you're going to go off and do subcontracting. Well, who do you subcontract with? Those are businesses that are winning at the agency that you want to get to, that are buying. So if you know who the top agencies are that are buying what you sell, then you're going to be able to go talk to them. I'm seeing some of these things coming in: AI governance and digital accessibility, expert. So I like this one: expert PKI and ICAM services. If you're not familiar with it, that basically is cybersecurity. In my words, it's cybersecurity niched way down, which is great. Okay, so let me expand my screen here, because I'm going to let you look at that little snapshot or image I have there. So the reason it's important to know which agencies are out there is because that'll drive you to find which small businesses you're going to work for. The second thing I want you to do is you want to find the top 1 to 3 agencies that are out there using FPDS. You could use USA Spending and some other tools, et cetera, but USA Spending is not as good as FPDS. If you're not familiar with this, FPDS is the raw data of what the government has bought over pretty much forever. It has some things that are missing, but basically it has everything. And so you want to go in there and find the top 3 agencies. You can try to use NAICS codes or PSC codes, but those are too generic. They're too broad. For example, there's a NAICS code, and that NAICS code might be software development or something. Well, it's way, way broad. But if you use keywords, you can niche down, because keywords inside of FPDS can go right to the description of the work, not the generic categorization of the work. I used an image here, and I'll use another one on the next page. But this one here, I typed in from just using Graham as my example. They're in here, I think, today. They do American Sign Language Services, one of their offerings. And so I typed in American Sign Language Services, and I'm able to come in and go, wow, the VA clearly is rocking a lot of contracts. And this is, by the way, the last 2 years. And then if I look at some of these other agencies, I wouldn't have thought of the Defense Contract Management Agency as being the number 2. But now I am thinking of that. And so when I go to look for small businesses on the next slide, you'll see that I might put the DCMA as my top agency and not the VA, even though I'm a veteran, Graham is not. And so it might be better for them to go somewhere that isn't veteran first type thing. And then so that was one example. And here's another example on this slide, same bullets, but the bottom part, the contracting agency names, the keyword I searched on was just the word staffing. All I said was show me staffing in the description of the work. And I haven't dug deep in there, still the same 2 years. But look at the staggering amount of opportunities that are coming out of the State Department and the VA, right? And the State Department's a little wishy-washy at the moment, but still, this gives you context. Office of the Secretary, that's DHS in there, I think. And then you start seeing others come down. Indian Health Services, National Institute of Health. Those 133, each of them are both in HHS, right? So I might look at that and go, well, the HHS has probably got some good traction. But you go into FPDS and you can find this information. I just found out which agencies are spending the most on my keyword. Remember, we're putting in, like here is quality lodging. Where'd it go? Quality lodging and logistics support. It's like, okay, if I went into search, which agencies are doing the most? I'll give you an example. Lawn care, everybody uses it. Pretty much everybody will buy what you sell for the most part, right? And so lawn care, if I go to the Department of Education, they have some contracts, but very minimal because they don't have that many lawns, right? Their lawn care might be basic stuff around a DC-based building. Compared to if you go to the Army, you'll find thousands because there's 100 plus installations, and they have huge sprawling lawn and other stuff, right? Green areas, right? Can you tell I'm a city boy? Doesn't know my lawns. But anyways, you have all that stuff out there. So you'll find a lot more stuff out there. Okay, let's keep rocking and rolling because I only got 11 minutes left. Oh, hey, I wanted to thank our sponsors, Voltron. They help you write more winning federal proposals with purpose-built AI. They help you go from hearing about an opportunity to writing a compliant, compelling draft for you to be able to review in minutes, not weeks. And so it's super exciting that Voltron is our sponsor for these live trainings. I really appreciate it. If you appreciate these trainings that I bring to you, maybe throw a thank you to Voltron in the chat. Again, thanks to Mac and Voltron. Okay, so let's talk about subcontracting under smalls and why I say small businesses is where you want to subcontract first, right? For the first 5, 10 million or something. The first thing is small businesses know what you're experiencing. If you go knock on a small business's door and you're going to try to get in there and grow your company, and you're like, hey, I'm just getting started, or I've been at it a year and I'm doing these kind of things. Well, the people you talk to over there are going to be the same ones who understand your struggle. They understand what you're going through. An example, many agencies are starting to gut their small business professionals, the people who are supposed to be our liaisons. Well, those other small businesses have the same pain points as you, same challenges, right? And they kind of have the same goals. They're trying to grow their company and build a sustainable business. And so that's my favorite reason for us small businesses knocking on the doors of other small businesses, is that they understand where we're coming from. I say that they're more willing to help you, right? And this is my fact based on my experience, right? So I don't know if I can make facts based on experience, but small businesses are much more willing to team up. And I say this, that they're much more willing to team up just to help rather than to be helped, right? And so what I mean by this is if you connect and you start building relationships, like, hey, maybe we go after stuff. Sure, I'm happy to help. I had this happen, my very first government contract on my last company. It started with a guy going, oh, sure, come on over. We get that kind of work. We never really pursue it. Happy to help you get started in government contracting by doing that. Compared to him going, well, what do you got? Why don't you come back to me when you got some opportunities? Have you ever had that happen to you? Like where somebody sits there and says, well, why don't you find some good opportunities, come back, and then we'll talk. I'm like, why don't you just admit that you don't want to build a relationship? Right? It's like you don't want somebody who's selfish in the beginning. You want a giver, and small businesses tend to be much more of a giver. And then the third one, they often have don't have the full expertise. If you go to a large businesses have pretty much every task area or skill set covered down on, but small businesses don't. We are experts at certain areas. And so if you come in and they've got opportunities, or you're mentioning an opportunity and there's 10 task areas, the chances of them being an expert at all 10 are very slim, right? But maybe they've got 4 to 6 of them covered. And so there's room in there for you to cover down on a weakness of theirs. And a weakness isn't the end of the world. It just means we're not a 10 out of 10. We're a 5 out of 10 on that particular thing. And so it opens the door up to somebody like you who might be a 10 out of 10. The fourth one, it's easy to get to decision makers in a small business. So in a large business, you could be working with a business developer. They like you, they're moving forward, but they have a whole bureaucratic infrastructure. They every week or 2 weeks or something, they're going back up to people who are disconnected from the activity of trying to do capture or pursue an opportunity. And they're just kind of up there doing more managerial rather than sales decisions up there. And they'll make decisions about whether you can be on the team, even though somebody else might have said, yeah, or they really liked you and they wanted to get you there and they're trying to push it forward. But in small businesses, you get right to the owner. You get right to the person who can sit there and say, yep, you're on my team. Let's just make this happen. I just had that happen to somebody who was a subscriber of Call Plan AI last week, where they went after 2 opportunities that they really wanted to pursue. And they wanted to go after it with this larger small business. And when they got in there and they did it and they pointed out where they could help, the other company was like, absolutely. And the person who was making that decision was the final decision maker. Sometimes it's like the head of business development. Other times it's the business owner, especially in small businesses. We often are talking to each other as business owners. And then the last thing is small businesses value your contribution significantly. I can't tell you the number of opportunities. Ooh, shoot, you remember I talked about that customer of mine that just won a $70 million subcontract. They did not have to do anything but just stay over there. Right? The large didn't even want them to participate in the capture, the proposal writing. I need a couple of things from you. Okay, we're good. That's all they did on that, right? You're just part of a cog in a wheel. But in a small business teaming relationship, the other small business, the prime, is going to value your contribution, your understanding of the opportunity, your thinking around how we might be able to capture it, your ability to go do capture by knocking on doors, having some meetings, maybe bring in the prime along, and then contributing to the proposal writing, right? Smalls like working together and they value your contribution. They're not arrogant and dismissive. And that's why I say you should stick with small businesses. Certainly start with small businesses for subcontracting. Okay, so let me give you 6 high-level steps here, just as kind of a reminder of how to pursue subcontracts. I talk about this often, and I know that I talk about this in a way that it's like, oh, it sounds so easy. I get it. It's hard work, but anything worthwhile is hard work. If you were tracking on me and the fact that I broke my back in September 1st, right? 8 spots, or 8 ribs. And is it hard work to come back? Yeah, but you push a little bit through the pain. And in here, it's the same thing. We have pain in the physical side. We have pain in our business where it gets tough. And sometimes we feel alone or the activity. But you can pursue subcontracts by following a process. And it begins with niching down on that clear, focused offer. Niche down tight. If you say you do cybersecurity, for example, don't leave it there. Cybersecurity could be offensive cyber, meaning you're attacking China. You're trying to go into their infrastructure. Or it could be defensive cyber. You're protecting America from China's attacks or something. It could be that you're doing a risk management framework, or I saw a couple of other people in here who were talking about they were doing PKI. These kind of things, you're niching down. So in cyber, it might be risk management framework as a way to niche down. But if you niche down, you're going to get yourself known, and people will know where you fit on what they're trying to go after, like the opportunities, et cetera. Second thing is pick an agency, like I talked about earlier. Just pick one. Once you get traction, then you can pick a second one, but pick one and drive forward. And once you pick that one, the third step is to identify 50 or 100 small business winners that are doing at least 5 million. I did this with another customer earlier this week and gave them 237 in this similar pattern where they were all fitting. They were actually 10 million plus. But you can download this data from FPDS, a little bit similar to what I talked about. I've got a lot of training on that. And when you download it, then you can just use Excel or something like that to manipulate the data. By the way, if you don't know what you're doing, just go to ChatGPT or whatever your AI tool is and go, how do I do this? How do I manipulate this data in Excel? Or literally, you can just upload the data and ask it questions. Anyways, number 4, reach out for an intro call. So this is where we start getting into the meat. 1, 2, 3 is about knowing where you're going and building a target list. Number 4 is about the outreach. You want to use email and phone. So you're going to send an email. It's going to be a personalized email to that person at that company. And then you're going to follow up with a voicemail. Generally, I try to do it the same day. You can do it the next day. But you want to keep moving forward because you're trying to get into that agency or that company. And if they don't say no, then the answer is yes until they say no. So you got to have a rhythm in there. I'm recommending you use an opportunity as a door opener. So you could reach out and say, hey, I'm looking to have an intro call. Are you open to that? That's a totally legitimate way of starting a conversation with somebody new. And I do it all the time. But the other way is you could look on SAM or something, find an opportunity where you can do 20% of the work and go, hey, John, I saw this opportunity. I want to see if we jump on a call and see if there might be a fit for teaming. And so if that opportunity is attractive to them and you're trying to find a company that does some kind of similar work, then it's a warmer way of doing a cold call. Number 5, when you're in that meeting, tell them exactly what you want, right? Tell them exactly what you're doing and what you want. What I'm trying to do is I've got my company. I am an expert at Microsoft SharePoint, but newer to the GovCon space. And I understand that it takes 2-3 years as subcontracting to really build up my experience and learn. And I'm hoping to maybe we can team together where I can help your company win contracts and deliver while I learn from you as we move forward. Are you open to that discussion? And if yes, then you have that discussion. And I've done a ton of training about kind of how to go forward. That's by the way, what Call Plan AI is all about, is helping you have those meetings that keep moving that relationship forward. And then the last thing is make sure when you have that first meeting and you're talking about something and you're trying to go towards subcontracting, right? Make sure that you're talking to them and saying, let's schedule a follow-on. Don't get off that call without scheduling a follow-up meeting 1 week out or something. How about I let you read the PWS on that opportunity and then we follow back up? Hopefully that makes sense. I know it's really fast. Again, you can watch a ton of training I've done, or you can come on over to Call Plan AI where I'm around every day at 3 o'clock. But here's what I want you to remember from today's training. First thing is success requires that clear, focused offer. What is yours? Do you know what it is? Have that hook. The second thing, success requires that you build relationships. you don't need a ton of strategic relationships, but you do need a ton of beginning meetings to find those companies and those people that will narrow down to, like, let's say 8 or 10 good strategic relationships, where there you can build your subcontracting business. And then number 3 here is success requires you show up every day. I know it's tough to do stuff, but we're trying to grow our company. If you just show up day after day after day, then you're going to have the success that you want. Hey, I'm out of time here. I just want you to remember, as you're moving forward on subcontracting, trying to grow that revenue, the government contracting, it is not a secret. It's just a process. Part of the process is ending on time. I am out of here. Have an awesome day.